We begin this narrative from the middle. I'm just outside a town called Lodwar, to the northwest of Kenya, not very far from the border of South Sudan. I'm driving a small 1300cc car, costs about $13,000, and I'm beginning to wonder, did I make a mistake? I may have made a mistake. Now perhaps I need to explain what I'm talking about. What I'm doing here, I'm trying to stone two birds with one kill. I'm test driving the Proton Saga, the red car that I'm driving, but I'm also on something called a recce. A recce is a reconnaissance trip, and the recce is for an event that I normally organize called the Great Run. What I can say for now is never ever trust social media, never. So why I have the Proton Saga? I'm doing a road test of it. I talked to the guys who sell it, Simba called, they asked me to do a road test. They asked me I'm taking the car to, and I told them load to, and they asked me if I'm sure. I told them I'm sure, but I was sure because of what I saw on social media. Somebody put up a picture of a very smooth highway and said that's the road from Kitale to Lodwar. So of course I had to drive to Lodwar. Same thing I did with Marsabit. Someone put a very good picture of the road from Isiolo to Marsabit. I drove to Marsabit and the road was perfect. Kitale Lodwar is not exactly perfect, but I'll get to that in a bit. The second reason, the part about the recce, I have to find a children's home for the Great Run. The Great Run is about charity, it's about giving back. What I normally do during the recce, I establish a route. It's part of the reason I came to Lodwar. I establish a route, make sure the route is scenic, try as much as possible to make it a place very few people have been to, but there's a good reason for them to drive there. From the children's home yesterday, go to Kitale, I'm driving back to Kitale and I'm asking myself so many questions. Should I really have done this? Should I have improved my research? It's not exactly my fault. There's a bit of a story behind that. As you are leaving Kitale at the petrol station, as I was filling up the tank for the fuel consumption test, I asked the fuel pump attendant, hey, how is the road from Kitale to Lodwar? He said the road is perfect, it's good, go for it. I can't make it, it's tarmac all the way, go for it. I was happy and excited. I said, hammer down, drive up to Lodwar. It was interesting. I took a Penguria, there were some nice twists here and there. Tarmac was good, a bit, one too many bumps, but nothing to complain about. Very scenic, very green, the land leveled out, started looking more and more like the Lodwar area. Until we go to a place called Lokicha, which is where we are right now. Proper Lodwar environment. The Lodwar that you are picturing in your mind is where I am right now. Desert environment, bad roads, tall, dark, skinny people. That is the situation I am in right now. I'm not sure if I should have brought a Proton Saga to this route, because one of the things about the Proton, it's a $13,000 car, yes? So you don't expect things like air suspension or adaptive suspension or fancy technology. But for a car with such high profile tires, there's quite a bit of pumping. Over rumble strips on bad roads like this, corrugated roads like this, and if unfortunately you hit a pothole, The car thumps rather badly. It's jarring. You might have seen my reaction in one of those other shots. But then again, remember the case was $13,000, 1.35 million Kenya shillings. A brand new car, 0 mileage. Same kind of car, same capacity, same performance, same specs. From Japan, from a Japanese brand. Let me not mention any names, but from a Japanese brand, it's going to cost the same. Difference is that car will be 8 years old, no warranty. This one comes with a warranty, comes with dealer maintenance, and there should be a possibility of trading it in for a newer one. All I'll say is, if you buy this car, perhaps you might want to hold off on driving to Lodwar for the next few months until they are through fixing this road. As you can see, I'm driving through riverbeds. Those are seasonal rivers, and there are hundreds of them here. Every few seconds through a riverbed and up out the other side. Which kind of makes me nervous, because what is going to happen when it starts raining? Ooh, I'm going there. Yeah, this is better. This is a much better alternative. Not that the road is good, but better alternative. Who'd have thought I'd be off-roading in a Proton Saga? Who'd have thought? And of course, when you are discussing a vehicle of this size and this class, compact saloon, very cheap comparatively. One of the key things that you look at is the fuel economy. How much fuel does this car burn? And what we're going to do is, we're going to do an economy test on our way to Lodwar. Actually, on our way to Lodwar and back. What we'll do is the standard method I normally use. Fill the tank to the top, take note of the mileage, start driving. Drive. I intend to drive to Lodwar from Kitale and back. See what distance we'll cover. Then when I refill the tank, I check the distance again, and I take note of the liters of fuel that we've burnt in that span between the two full tanks. Do the maths, divide the distance by the consumption, and we have our figure. I know the figure will be a highway figure because between Kitale and Lodwar, we don't expect a lot of traffic or a lot of stops or a lot of corners. So it might be a bit optimistic, but it's a 1.3 liter. How much different can it be from highway use and from city use? Let's see what it is. Kitale is full of motorbikes. So many motorbikes. Quite an interesting car, this one. The drive from Nairobi to Kitale was, let me say, exciting. And it's not exciting like you'd get if you are driving maybe a turbocharged Subaru or an AMG Mercedes. It was exciting because you are driving against Outlanders and Prados and big Land Cruisers and Pajeros and Toyota Crowns. Those are powerful cars, 2000cc plus. Some of them even in the 5-liter category. What we have is a little 1300 with an automatic transmission. It was quite a drive. Number one, you have to keep up with the rest of traffic. Number two, overtaking was quite interesting, particularly with a truck. You'd be behind a truck, you see the road is clear ahead of you. The moment you indicate to turn right, as you're turning right to start overtaking the truck, you check your mirror, someone is flashing their lights. They're like, pick up, go, I'm also trying to overtake, you're in my way. Put your foot down. For a few seconds, nothing happens, the guy behind is getting impatient, starts hooting. Then suddenly the car downshifts back into first and you start grabbing the guy behind you. It's not something I quite enjoyed. It's interesting because it's a road trip, yes, and I'm making observations, but I must say It's not something I really enjoyed, because what you do is you end up annoying other road users. This might not really be a car for highway use. It's performed convincingly, but it might not really be a car for highway use. Then again, if you drive on a very busy day, you don't really need that kind of acceleration, do you? What you're looking for is economy, especially if you're doing distances like we're doing. Nairobi Lodwar is 500 and what? 520 something. So going and coming back, we're looking at close to 1100 kilometers. You will need fuel economy for that kind of drive. But so far, so good. The car's behaved. I'll continue from there. We put in 3,000 shillings worth of fuel in Nairobi, and I know I don't normally count fuel consumption in terms of shillings, but yeah, that's what we did. I forgot to check the liters. But we put in 3,000 shillings of fuel worth 3,000 shillings worth of fuel in Nairobi. Drove to Kitale. We kept our eye on the range indicator. And somewhere just before Nakuru, the consumption started going up. So we became worried. Are we going to make it to Kitale with that 3,000 shillings worth? After Eldoret on our way to Kitale, something different happened. The range indicator showed that not only will we make it to Kitale, we'll have a balance of more than 100 kilometers. So eventually we got to Kitale and the range left was 75 kilometers, but I've cranked the car up this morning. It told me that the range was 73 kilometers. I had the car idling for about 2-3 minutes. It told me the range is now 71 kilometers. I've been driving for slightly more than a minute. The range is now 67 kilometers. If I were you, I'd not keep my eye on that. It can make you worried. What to do is, let's just get that consumption figure from Kitale to Lodwar and back, then use that as a ballpark. So if you put in 20 liters of fuel and you're doing 16 kilometers a liter or something, know that you have 320 kilometers worth of range. Use that number. If you use this dial, it goes up and down, it fluctuates. So perhaps it's not really the best to rely on. But so far so good. One complaint though, the car is a bit, what's the word? I don't want to say uncomfortable. It's smooth and easy to drive, but it thumps over potholes, as you can feel over here. And the seats, you sit in these seats for a while, you're going to start feeling it. My own personal driving style, when I'm going on a long trip, I empty my bladder at the beginning, make sure I'm well fed, well watered, well rested. Once I start going, I rarely ever stop. We did Nairobi Kitale in one hit. I did not stop anywhere. That's just me. And I think that could be a contribution to the discomfort that I ended up feeling. So that could be a personal thing rather than a flow with the car. This costs 1.35 million shillings. Is it 1.35? Yeah, it should be 1.35 because this is the premium auto. There's the standard auto which costs 1.25 million shillings. Then there's the standard manual which costs 1.15 million shillings. No, the premium auto, of course, is the fancy one. This car looks really good from outside. You can tell from the shots, the rolling shots and the photos that we put up on social media. But those differences, I'd say, are mostly visual, especially between the standard auto and the premium auto. Mostly the looks. If you want to spend an extra 100 grand on how your car looks at the showroom, go for it. Now, I've been driving this car. This is the second time I'm testing this car, and I don't really have much to complain about it. And given the cost, it costs the same as a used Japanese car of the same class and same capacity. But from what I described earlier about the transmission behavior, I'd really like to try the manual. You know, with the manual, you have more control. You are rowing your own gears. Maybe the pickup could be better, because with this one, if you're in a sudden need of power, there's a small delay which can completely put your mats off. Then again, also, you're not supposed to be driving like that, are you? And here we are approaching the fuel station, ready to start our economy run. So, we've just fueled. One thing about this car is the tank. It's quite a small tank, 40 liters. But then again, this is a small car. Good. Since I'm alone in the car, I think I can unmask so that I can talk nicely into the camera. Yeah, 40 liters is a small tank, but given the consumption, can go quite some distance with it. From after refueling, we've put in fuel, and despite the fuel gauge indicating red, we've only put in 30 liters, and that was that. The tank was full, 30 liters. And remember, when I fueled in Nairobi, the tank was not completely empty. That means that I've burnt a lot less than the 3,000 shillings that I put there. Given that fuel is 120 per liter, 3,000 shillings comes to what? 3,000 divided by 120, that means 300 divided by 12, and that is 2 point... Oh, 2.5. No, wait, 25. 25 liters Nairobi Kitale. 25 liters over 380 kilometers comes to... Okay, need to concentrate on driving. Yeah, 25 liters into 380. Goodness, I have a maths degree and I cannot even do simple division in my head. But yeah, 380 kilometers, about 25 liters. But that's not a very accurate method. Oh, Jesus. That's not a very accurate method of testing. We've started a real test now. Our mileage is at 3730. We have a full tank. We need to drive as far as we can until it blinks red again, then refill the tank. So now I'm fueling at Lodwar. Remember, we filled the tank in Kitale and our mileage was 3730. So we are now at Lodwar, about to head back to Kitale. The mileage is at 4,085. We've covered exactly 355 kilometers. At the fuel pump there, we've consumed 27 liters. When you do the quick math, it's coming to 13.1 kilometers a liter from a 1300, costing $13,000. Yeah, this is shaping up to be quite interesting. Anyway, let's head back to Kitale now. I've just refilled the tank. I'm beginning to wonder whether that fuel will take us far beyond Kitale, but let's see what is what. Time to hit the road. Okie dokie.